Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GM Sports Report, your weekly podcast on all things sports, where every play counts. I'm Grant, and I'm here with my co-host Mason as we get ready to cover the latest news, headlines, and upcoming events going on in the sports world. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see all things GM Sports Report. Mason, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good today, Grant. A little nervous. Game four going on tonight. Series is currently 2-1 Pacers. To hope to even it out in Indiana, but yeah, we'll see. How are you?
I'm doing good. Yeah, it's been an interesting series so far, to say the least, and we're going to be getting into that in a little bit. So, with that being said, we're going to start out this episode with our hot take of the week. So, I'll let you go ahead and take that away.
Yeah, so I don't think mine's too much of a hot take. I think it's kind of just a fact at this point, and I think it's Oklahoma City Thunder will win the NBA Finals. I don't really think anyone coming out the East will be able to beat the Thunder, and they're just showing how dominant they have been this season. Really dealing with the Wolves, like we'll get into a little later, but yeah, I think they'll win it all.
Yeah, it's hard to see any other team being able to compete with that team. They just have all the chemistry in the world, all the talent in the world. Um, they look like they're having fun out there. They can defend, they can play on offense, they can slow the game down if they need to. They can go fast if they need to. So it's just a really complete team and balanced team. So I kind of agree with you there. My hot take of the week, I'm going full bias mode here. If the Chicago Cubs trade for a big name starter and a big name reliever, they will become championship contenders. Right now, as we're recording this, they have the second best record in the NL. They have by far the best offense in the MLB. In the sixth inning or later, they're outscoring their opponents 53-3 right now. PCA and Seiya Suzuki's first in RBIs and Pete Crow Armstrong is second in RBIs in the whole league. They've just looked absolutely fantastic this year. I was expecting a good team, but man, I was not expecting this one. And it's really showing us Cubs fans that, look, we're like a couple pieces away from making some noise because we swept the Dodgers earlier this year. We won the Dodgers series. Um, they beat us in Tokyo, but outside of that, we've won the two series that we've played. So I don't know. I'm getting a little excited as a Cubs fan. I haven't seen a Cubs team like this in a long time. Honestly, I hate to jinx anything, but it's been like since 2016 team that I've seen a team be able to rally like this team has in games. So I think they really need a starting pitcher and a relief pitcher, and we could have a conversation about playing around Halloween time. So I'm
Yeah,
excited.
so I got a question. What are your expectations? Because I know we kind of talked about it, and as far as our teams kind of shocking us in the past few years, I think the only thing that is kind of even close is the 2022 Giants, and for me, that was just hoping for a playoff win. So we got that. Didn't expect anything more. But what are you expecting for this Cubs team?
I'm expecting them to at least win the division. I think they can win the NL Central
Okay.
easily. I think the Cardinals are close, but I think that will space out as time goes on. I would love to see them get a series win. I think that's my realistic expectation is for them to win a series in the playoffs.
Okay.
Not just make the playoffs,
Yeah.
but win a series.
Right.
I really do think though, like I said, part of my hot take, if they just get a big name starter, because Justin Steele losing him is a huge blow. That was our best pitcher,
Mm-hmm.
and then obviously Shota's dealing with injury right now. So we're gonna need another starting pitcher. So hopefully there's some on the trade block come the deadline. And then obviously we need another reliever because that gets shaky at times. But as of late they've been really good out of the bullpen. But we still
Yeah.
need like a rocks guy. I'm seeing Mason Miller's name get thrown around. That would be very interesting. Yeah, I expect a playoff win, a playoff series win, and go from there.
Yeah. Yep. I
I'm
like it.
excited though. I haven't been this excited about a
Yeah,
Cubs team in
yeah.
a long time.
That's good. It's good to see.
All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and slide over to our underdogs of the week. So I'll let you go ahead with that.
Yeah, I really couldn't think of too many underdogs other than being biased. So I'm just gonna do the one that hurts me the most, and that is Game One MVP Aaron Neesmith. I know everyone's gonna talk about the Halliburton shot, but if it wasn't for Neesmith nailing six or what was it, seven threes in the fourth quarter, they wouldn't even have had a shot to tie or even win that game on the Halliburton shot. So I got to give credit where it's due. It sucks being up 14 with 3 minutes left and absolutely blowing the lead, but yeah, just shout out to Neesmith. Really clutched up when they needed him.
So I wasn't expecting you to pick a Pacers player, so I went ahead and picked Aaron
Wow.
Neesmith as well.
Okay.
Um, yeah, like you said, crazy performance, 8 for 9 from 3, 30-point game. And let's face it, he sparked probably one of the greatest comebacks we've seen in sports. It was improbable that they'd win that game, and they somehow came back and did it. It was all because of his spark. I mean, I know Halliburton had the dagger at the end, but like you said, it was Neesmith that got them there to have a chance to win that game. And on top of that, he has been playing some amazing defense on
Hmm.
Jalen Brunson. But, last game we did see him go down with an injury, and he is now a game time decision for tonight. And that's going to play a big factor going forward because he's really the only one on the Pacers that looked like he can somewhat contain Jalen Brunson. I mean, Jalen Brunson was still having big games, but at times it looked like he was able to slow him down. So without him, I don't know who's going to be able to guard Brunson. So that could be a big factor moving
Yeah.
forward in this series. But yeah, I also went with Neesmith because I was not prepared at all for you to pick him.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the only thing that we can do now is just segue into that, discussion.
100%. That's
It's just
exactly what we're going to do. Going to
yeah.
slide into the Knicks versus Pacers. The series is right now 2-1 with game 4 tonight. Knicks are looking to tie the series. Obviously, Pacers are looking to get their command and 3-1 lead that, a lot of teams don't come back from. But yeah, let's get it right into it. What are your thoughts on this series so far, Mason? Do you think the Knicks can tie the series tonight? Do you think the Pacers will end up going up 3-1? What are your thought process right now with this
Man,
series?
so I'll start from the beginning. Where were we? We were coming home from somewhere and we were watching the game. Oh, it was Miami. We were
Yeah.
coming back from the Cubs Miami game. Um, and we were up by a lot. And I'm over here thinking like, okay, cool. We got good momentum. And then I ended up recording myself the last 5 minutes of that game. And in one of the recordings I have, it says, okay, we're in a good, lead. I'm happy we are where we are. I just hope we can keep the momentum going into game two. Boy, was I shocked of what the results were, coming to be. So I really think, just I just can't believe that shot that Halliburton got went in. That one just hurt because you see the ball almost touch the rafters. There are two championship banners up there. That's that's it. So that one like hurt me. And once we went to overtime, I knew we weren't going to win. And then game two, it was kind of the same, but they really had momentum the whole time. We kind of came back towards the end. And yeah, but game three, I really thought we were going to go down 3-0. Grant had more faith than I did. I'll be completely honest. Once we went down 20, I was like, yeah, there's no shot. And then we ended up pulling it off the win. Cat had a 20-point fourth quarter. Um, yeah, I hope we can get a little bit more consistent on the offensive side of things because it really looks stagnant to where Jalen Brunson has the ball for 14 seconds. They pass it around a little bit. Jalen Brunson ends up with the ball and force a shot. So I really just hope we can figure it out because the Pacers they're just clicking on all cylinders.
Yeah, look, games 1 and 2 caught me by complete surprise. I was not expecting the Pacers to win one game, let alone two in MSG. That was absolutely mind blowing for me to see that happen, especially in that game 1. I mean, that's going to go down as one of the greatest comebacks in sports. I couldn't believe that they came back and won that game. Um, it was just a really good performance, and game 2 just a fantastic performance, specifically by Pascal Siakam. I think he had like 39 in that
Hmm.
game or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
Really made the Knicks uncomfortable, but you got to give credit to the Knicks. They were on the brink of going down 3-0, down by a good amount going into half. But I texted Mason. I said, look, I really think that the Knicks will win this game. I just had a feeling because, look, that's been the series. Whoever's been up at halftime has ended up losing this game, it feels like. So I just really had a feeling that the Knicks would come back. They're going to play desperate. And I always say desperate teams are the scariest teams. When a team's on their last life, when a good team is on their last life, I should say, that's one of the scariest teams to face. And that's what the Knicks were the other night. So they came back, fought hard. won a game. And I said this prediction to Mason. I'm going to stick with this. I think tonight is going to be a Knicks blowout. I think the Knicks will
I
blow the Pacers out to tie the series and bring it back to MSG. They know that they're one win away from tying this series up and going back to MSG. And I think that's huge for the morale of that team. I think they're going to be ready for the challenge. I think the Pacers kind of gave their best punch in the series the first two games. And yeah, I think the Knicks are going to absolutely steamroll the
dude,
Pacers tonight.
stop saying that. I can't you're saying steamroll, and I'm hoping we scrap out with a win. I don't care if it's a 1 point
It will be a
53 free
blowout.
throw game from Brunson. I don't care. Blowout is
It's,
crazy. What's
it's going to
making
be
you
a
think
blowout.
that? Like just because of the
Neesmith's not healthy.
desperation?
Neesmith's
Yeah.
not healthy. You guys are coming off a win, so you have some momentum there. And like I said, you don't think on the Knicks' minds right now, they're not thinking, look, we had two of the most embarrassing losses we could possibly have on our home court, and we're one win away from tying the series and going back to home. Like, you don't think that's not motivated enough to go out and like dominate a game?
Well, absolutely, but you gotta also know that like the Pacers are still a very good team, and you can have that motivation, but to execute it is a whole different thing. So I just
Now,
I get what you're saying. So
with that being said, on that Pacers being very good thing, I saw something that was very interesting. I don't know if you saw this. In games ones in this playoff, the Pacers are undefeated. In games two, they're undefeated. In game threes, they haven't won a game three yet in this playoff. They're 0-3 in game
mm.
threes in the playoffs. But in games 4 and games 5, they're undefeated in those as well. So it'd be very interesting to see if that trend keeps up. But I really don't think it will. Like I said, Knicks will steamroll. It'll be a 30-point blowout. Precious Achiuwa is going to be out on the court in the fourth quarter. It's going to be, yeah, it's
Okay,
not going to
that's
be close.
crazy.
um, but
No,
let's
I
say,
hope for my sanity you're right. I hope for it.
let's say it turns south and Pacers do go up 3-1. Do you think this Knicks team is capable of coming back from a 3-1 deficit?
Oh man. That's a good question. This has been the most I think fighting team I've ever seen one of my teams be probably in my whole life. Other than the Giants Super Bowl runs where they're against the Patriots. But I think that they can I think that they can. I think they can push it to 7. Um Now, as far as winning it from that, I'm not too sure because the steam's gonna die at some point. I just hope that it doesn't even get to the point to where we do go down 3-1. But if it does, I think we can get to 7, and from there, I don't know. So I think that's probably the best answer I can give. But yeah, what about you? What do you think?
I wouldn't count them out. The one game that
Right.
would concern me would be that game 6 that would be back in Indiana. That would be the
Yeah,
one that where I'm
absolutely.
like, okay, that's gonna be kind of tough for them to win. But this, as much as I don't like the Knicks, it's a very talented team, and they are capable of coming back from a 3-1 deficit, in my opinion. So it'd be interesting to see. But like I said, I just don't think they're going to go down 3-1 tonight. My gut is just telling and is pointing me in the direction that it's going to be a tied series. So let's head over to that side of the discussion. If the series is
Yeah.
tied, do you think the Knicks will win this series, or do you think that it's still anyone's game?
I still think it's anyone's game. Momentum obviously is huge, and winning two back to back, both away, is big. But you got to look at the statistics because, yeah, Knicks are great on the road. I think we're 6-1 now in this playoff series. But at home, we there's no doubt that we've been struggling. So if we can kind of shift that and kind of win at home again, I think that then we can pull it out, but we got to step on their throats and just get going because maybe it'll be a wake up call and be like, okay, this is who we're supposed to be. But it could also be like, oh man, we're still fighting and straggling just for a single win. So I think that's also up in the air.
I think the thing that would be interesting is if it is tied 2-2, neither team would have won at home so far in this series, which
Right,
is
right,
very
exactly.
strange to see. in the conference finals. So I also believe it's still anyone's game just based off of that, because you're going to go back
Mhm.
to, MSG, and Knicks haven't won there yet this series, but the Pacers have stolen 2 games there. So it's still anyone's
Exactly.
game. But I do think the Knicks will have the momentum, and I'd give them the edge to win the series if they tie it tonight. Because like I said, in that game 3, they were on their last life. If you go down 3-0, you're
They
not
were.
winning that series like at all. And they were down by 13
Yeah.
points, and they fought back and they won. So if they do that again tonight and they come out and they win and dominate like I predict they will, I think that they're gonna, be able to pull out this series. I do think it'll still be a deep series. I think it'll be 6 or 7 games
Yeah.
regardless.
Mhm.
Um, but I think this will give the Knicks the momentum they need if they win tonight.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Next week we'll be having a conversation because we'll know what happens. So it'll be interesting to see what that's going to be like.
Next week, we'll
Um,
be talking finals.
I know it's crazy how fast these playoffs
Yeah.
have flown by. Um, Speaking of finals, we're going to go to the next series where I think it's pretty obvious who's going to make the finals out of the Western
Yeah.
Conference, and that is the Timberwolves versus OKC series. The Thunder are up 3-1 right now at the time of recording this. Mason, do you think Timberwolves will win another game? Do you think they'll bounce back? Like, what are your thoughts for the rest of this series?
I think that it'll probably end tomorrow night. I think Thunder kind of has what they need. And man, I will be honest, talking, ball like we just did with that Pacers Knicks series, that was just fun. We were able to just talk as much as we could. But this one, it just seems like there's not as much to talk about,
There's
just
not.
because there's guys that are doing well on the Wolves, but not well enough. They're just not able to get to what they need to do. So like I just said, it's not as exciting to talk about, and I think it's just gonna be over tomorrow. So yeah, I mean, I think it'll be Wolves in the finals. Like I said in my hot take, I think they'll win the whole thing as well.
You mean the Thunder, right?
Oh, Thunder, correct? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was just making sure because you said hot takes, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
whoa,
No,
did I
no, no,
miss
no,
something?
no, no. That's too hot. Too hot.
Yeah. I was about to clip that and throw that on the TikTok
Heck no.
there. um, yeah. So I have a question, kind of outside of the blowout game where Anthony Edwards had that really big game. Has he not been letting you down a little bit? I feel like I've been let down by Anthony
Yeah.
Edwards. I was expecting a little bit more.
Yeah, I did too. I didn't expect Randall to just, be, I guess, maybe not face, but like the leading guy in this series. And whenever it comes to him, you expect like the huge superstar games, especially in this, do or die series. We haven't seen those explosive games that we're used to. So with him really not being able to perform in the way he's meant to be, it's very, I guess, yeah, it's letting I think everyone down. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And I get that OKC has fantastic defenders that they can throw on
yeah,
Anthony
that's
Edwards to slow
true.
him down. But this is his second straight conference finals. So you think now he's like, all right, I
Hmm.
got one under my belt. So now I can come out and really, perform. Even if my team's not winning, I can go out there and give it my best shot and win. And I just feel like we haven't seen any like huge Anthony Edwards games outside of the blowout they had that one game. I think that was their best punch
Yeah,
in the series. Um, yeah, I've been kind of let down by Anthony Edwards. I'm not gonna lie. I was expecting more from him. I thought him versus Shea would be a lot more fun of a matchup, and it just hasn't been. Shea last night had a fantastic game, 40 points, 9 rebounds, 10
yeah,
assists, just a really good all around game, almost triple double. He's been playing great, but yeah, I've been shocked. I mean, it's not like Anthony Edwards been bad by any means. I'm sure he's averaging like
yeah,
25
yeah,
points or something like that in this series. I don't know the exact numbers, but um, it just hasn't been. I was expecting some 40-point games, some maybe even 50-point games from him, because that's what kind of potential he has, especially with the experience he has in the conference finals, and he just hasn't been there. As far as the series goes, 3-1, I don't think that it's going to go any further than 5 games. I think the Thunder will finish it out now that they're going back home. Um, I think that blowout was just, all that the Timberwolves had, that big punch that they were going to throw. And I think the Thunder were like, all right, we'll handle our business now, and they're going to pack them up in
Yeah.
5, I think.
Yeah. So game one, I actually have the stats up. So game one, Ant had 18, two 32, and game three he had 30, and game four last night he had 16. So it's either high highs or not too much from him. I mean, 16 and 18 are still good, but from what we're used to from him, dropping about 25 to 30, that's definitely a good fall.
Yeah. And 30s is good, right? But when you're going against a team like the Thunder and you have a guy with Ant's talent, you need 40s for to like
Right.
if you want to
Right.
win the series, you know what I mean? Like cuz you're going against
Mm-hmm.
the Thunder, so like you need 40s out of him. And I know that's not easy obviously, and it's easier said than done. But that's just kind of I think that's kind of the expectations we have for Ant just because of how great he's
Yeah.
been in the start of his career. So it's been interesting to see that 18-point, 16-point game. That just can't happen.
No, it
Um,
can't.
so it's been interesting for sure.
Yeah, especially when like there's conversations, especially leading up to this season of like him potentially being a face of the franchise or like
Yeah.
of the NBA. Like you
Hmm.
need to, show up when it matters. I know all
Yeah.
about, New York guys not showing up when it matters. So uh yeah, it sucks to see, and I hope that he can really just kind of bounce back tomorrow night.
Yeah. You
At
think if
least
they
go down
lose the
trying.
series, yeah. You think if they lose this series, that'll kind of start a headline around him because that this will be back-to-back conference finals appearances, but back-to-back losses in conference finals appearances. Do you think this will start a negative headline around him?
Um I don't know about negative, but it'll definitely be kind of like a knock, especially if he doesn't. I don't know about completely negative though. It'll kind of be like what they do with, like Judge, where it's like, oh, can't perform in the postseason or can't get it done when he needs to. So maybe not just completely like straight horrible, but it'll definitely be a negative notch in his belt.
Yeah. I also don't think it'll be a negative headline around him just because one, I think the league loves Anthony Edwards. I think all the fans love
Hmm.
Anthony Edwards for the most part. And two, both times he's made the conference finals the last few years, they've been pretty heavy underdogs, I'd say. So
Yeah, yeah.
until he plays in a conference finals where like they're heavy favorites and he blows it and they lose the series, I think that
Mm,
you can cut him some slack a little bit. So that's where I stand on that as well.
yeah.
All right.
Real quick, you know who he kind of
Yeah.
reminds me of as far as like an NFL comparison? I think like Lamar Jackson, because
That's
he gets
interesting.
paired up against like the Chiefs and like the Bills and like the AFC champion or like the divisional, to where like Ravens are good, but you got these other two juggernauts who you got to go up against, and if you lose, you're gonna get that kind of skepticism like they do with Lamar, to where he
Yeah.
can't even reach a championship game. But you know, yeah, I think that's kind of just a quick comparison.
Yeah, that's fair to say. I agree with that. I do think this series will be over in 5 games. Just to get on the record, do you think this will be over in 5 games, or how long do you see this going?
No, I do. I think it'll be done Wednesday night.
Yeah, definitely not as much to talk about for this series because it's kind of just been the Thunder
Yeah.
handling business outside of that one blowout loss they had. Um,
What you expect?
yeah, exactly. So yeah, next week we're gonna be talking about the NBA Finals, which is just crazy. Um, and now we're gonna go ahead and
Yeah.
slide over to the MLB real quick, and we're just gonna give our player of the week and team of the week. So I'll let you go ahead and start with your player of the week for the MLB.
Yeah, so I'll go with the Red center fielder, Will Benson. He is batting 526 in the past week. He went 10 for 19 at bats, 5 home runs, 10 ribbies, and has a 1.368 slugging. So, yeah, he's been dialed in this past week.
Yeah, he has been, but there was a team that slowed him down a little bit, and that was my Chicago
Yeah,
Cubs. But outside of that,
there
yes,
you
he's
go.
been fantastic, and I've had to hear all about it because obviously I'm on Twitter a lot and I get a lot of NL Central tweets and I've been seeing all about him. So yeah, I like that pick. My player of the week, I'm going for more of a sentimental pick because I really like this guy, and he just came off a terrible injury, is back now, and that's Ronald Acuna Jr.
Mhm.
Came back this last weekend in his first 2 games, hit 2 home runs. Just really happy to see him back. I think he's one of the most electric players in baseball. He was one of the ones, him and Tatis, when they were in minors, I was watching them heavily because I knew how much potential they had. So to see them like blossom into, the stars that they are, I've always had like a soft spot for them. So seeing him, with the ACL injury last year really uh, made me upset. And seeing him be able to bounce back and look healthy so far, and 2 home runs in 2 games, it's a really nice sight to see. So I'm really happy about that. So I went with Ronald Acuna Jr. as my player of the
Yeah.
week.
It feels like he's like one of the guys where like when he's doing good, the league feels like it's going good, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And he
So
might
yeah.
provide a very much needed spark of momentum for that Braves team, because I think that Braves team is a
Yeah.
lot more talented than they've started out this season. So that
100%.
he can help save their season, I think.
Mhm.
All right, now we're gonna go ahead and go into our team of the week.
Yeah, so I had to go with the guys who I think have the best record in the MLB now, and that's the Phillies. I think they're 9-1 in the last 10, and they've just been killing it. You know, Kyle Schwarber, he's been on an absolute tear. Him and Judge have been step for step along that home run leaderboard. So every time I see, Judge hit another one, it's like Schwarber's right on his back. So yeah, they've just been absolutely killing it.
Yeah, they've been fantastic. I had them as one of my picks. I had a feeling you'd pick them, so I put another team down.
Yeah.
I'm going with the bias again. Chicago Cubs, 8-2 in their last 10. Um, those 2 losses in their last 10 were really bad losses, and they're almost losses where it's like, all right, are we going to lose this series? Because I don't know how you bounce back from that. But they did. Both times they lost those games, they would go on to win their series against the teams they were playing against. And this Cubs team just has so much fight in them. There was a game against the Reds this past weekend where they're down 8-3, and they ended up scoring 8 unanswered runs and winning the game 11-8. It's just a team that doesn't quit. This offense uh, always has a chance if they can just limit the earned runs on the pitch inside. I can't stress this enough. Like, this offense is good enough to be a World Series team. Now it's time to get the pitch in there. And if they can do that, who knows where this Cubs team can go, because anything can happen in playoff baseball. So, yeah, I'm going
Yeah,
with the Cubs, who are 8-2 in their last 10.
nice.
All right. Well, that's pretty much going to wrap up this episode. So thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of GM Sports Report, where every play counts. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see our weekly episodes on all things sports. For additional content, check the description to see links to our Instagram and TikTok account. This is Grant and Mason sign off for now. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you, guys.